Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com. This video reveals the 5 books that you must read if you are truly committed to creating wealth in abundance. Now, I've read hundreds upon hundreds of books. I'm still a voracious reader and student of mindset, of consciousness, of abundance, and of business to this very day, and I've simmered down my hundreds upon hundreds of hours of consuming content into 5 books. And I recommend that you not only read these books, that you read and reread and implement and reread what you learn in these 5 books, because I do believe that you could read only these 5 books and you would see massive shifts in your bank account balance, in your mindset, in your business, and in the fulfillment level you are experiencing in your life, which is ultimately what I'm here to help you achieve. And that's what your business is here to help you achieve. Now, the first one is this little tiny book. It's called The Abundance Book by John Randolph Price, and you can get it on Amazon. It's about $7, or you can just go to milesbeckler.com/abundance. Now, as we get into these are affiliate links, right? Like, I would obviously make something to the tune of 60 cents if you clicked on my affiliate link and bought this book and then checked out within 24 hours. So if you want to support the channel, I appreciate it, but that's not why I'm doing it. I just wanted to give you full disclosure. Back to the point, which is The Abundance Book. Now, this book was originally written in the 80s, I believe, and it does a wonderful job of summarizing everything that came out of the New Thought movement. And the New Thought movement is what Napoleon Hill was a part of, Emerson was a part of. A lot of the core foundational ideas about abundance, about manifestation, and a law of attraction come out of this book. And he takes a little bit of a twist on it. He overlaps that with what a lot of the theologians would talk about, and it goes into some biblical scriptures. Now, I'm not necessarily like traditionally religious in any way, shape, or form, but I have found this little book that I have been carrying around in over 20 countries for about 5 years to be probably the most valuable book I have ever read. And in the middle of it, it has a 40-day prosperity process that it wants you to go through, okay? It's a 40-day process. If you're hurting for money, if you and your relationship for money suck, and you really want to change that around, it's all about what's going on up here. And we've learned everything, all our beliefs and all of this baloney about money. We learned it all when we were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Okay. So the household you grow up in, the environment and the people you grow up around up until the age of 6, they laid your foundation for your relationship with money. And if you want to become a truly abundant person who is experiencing wealth in abundance, you gotta fix this. That's the number one thing. That's why we're starting with the money. Money is the mechanism that we use to exchange value with each other in this world. And if you have a negative relationship with money, you're going to be repelling money, and we need to shift that around so you attract money to you like a magnet. I have read this book so many times. Again, it's under 80 pages, and the pages are freaking tiny. Like, let's be real here. If you read 10 pages of this a night before bed, you'll go through the book once in a week. If you do that every week for an entire year, you're going to be blown away at what starts to happen in your life, and I highly recommend you go through that 40-day prosperity plan. It's something you can keep in your pocket. You can keep it in your car. I've read this in a day when I was stuck in airports and on a long travel day. I've also broken it up and read it little by little because I get lots of value out of the little tidbits. It's thick. It's not thick in a physical sense, but like the ideas in here are very, very deep. It's one that you're going to need to read and reread. But look, it's like $7 to get this book. And this is the number one top book when it comes to really shifting things around for money. Now, number 2 is also about money, okay? And we're going to get into business and all the stuff you would expect me to talk about on this channel, but I got to be honest with you. If you don't get your head straight, if your head is not right, you will not get the results that you want. So that first book, again, milesbeckler.com/abundance. The second one is milesbeckler.com/prosperity. Now, this is a Nightingale Conant seminar, and it's only available on Audible. And that's a big part of why I'm showing you this. There's other books that have very similar titles to each and every one of these. This is the one and the only one that you want to go through. Now, it's a recording from the 1990s of a seminar that this guy used to tour around the country. And he consciously decided not to update it for all the modern kind of digital age. And I believe that's what makes this so so powerful. Now, he gets in and will literally help you begin to completely rewire your brain and your relationship with money, with being of service to others, and how all of that flows into you tapping the true abundance that is awaiting you in this world. I have been through this specific audio program probably 6 times in the last 10 years. It is one I continue to revisit. I just went through it months ago, and as I've shared this, which I have shared this one on YouTube before, I get so many comments from people who are blown away that they just start getting checks in the mail by going through this. And they're like, wow, maybe I should actually do the exercises because I started to see the benefits of it by just listening to it. Again, this one, these, they all have exercises in them. Feel free to do a read through once, but go through, spend time, and get detailed with it if you're truly committed to creating wealth in abundance in your life. Now, 40% of this list, okay, the top 2 are all about money. It's your relationship with money. Money is actually nothing. It's an intangible piece of linen in this country with ink on it. In other countries, it's a plasticky type substance, and they're these random coins. Money is simply a mechanism of value exchange, so I can go create value in the world. I fill up a bank account from the value I get, and then I can go buy things that I value. It's a medium of exchange, and we all have so much baggage around money that you have to fix that, or else you run the risk of building a successful business that starts making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per month, and you lose all of the money and you go bust. And you might think, Miles, I would never do that. I've seen it. I've seen it so many times. I've seen people in the internet marketing world do $1 million launches and end up effing broke. And it's ridiculous, but it happens all the time because people don't have this right. And you may have heard the statistic around lottery winners. 80% of lottery winners end up worse off after winning the lottery than they were before winning the lottery. Why? The mindset. They have not built a mindset to handle that much abundance. So if you want to experience abundance in your life, start exactly where you are today. I was $50,000 in debt when I started doing this kind of work. Today, my life looks much, much different than it did. My current weekly income is more similar to what my annual income used to be, and it takes a few hours per week at this point in time. And it hinges on my relationship with money, but then it gets into the actual technical stuff. So milesbeckler.com/prosperity. This is Audible only. One other note on this one before we go to the next one. You can get a free Audible trial if you've never done Audible. I think buying at least 1 credit on Audible per month is a super good deal. And when you buy this book from the Audible credit, it's 1 credit. So if you've already done your free trial, use a credit. It's 1 credit. I believe retail price on this is something like $50, but you can use an Audible credit for this one in order to kind of get it for just a credit. And you could get your first credit free if you've never done Audible. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. I think these first 2 are the most important ones. And I'm assuming you came here looking for marketing books and tactical books, but I really, really, really encourage you, if you have not done the work of getting inside of your head and rewiring your brain to magnetize abundance and to be a better conduit for the flow of energy that is money and abundance, you got to start there. You have to start with getting the mindset right so you can handle more wealth and abundance in your life. You'll be amazed at what you create when you get your head on straight. Next up is the 1-page marketing plan. Now, this book, I actually don't know who this guy is. I stumbled on this book, and I believe this book does one of the best jobs at summarizing direct response marketing ideas that came from Dan Kennedy and from the greats who really built the industry. Now, if you don't know what direct response marketing is, essentially we ask people a question, do you want this thing? If they say yes, we ask them if they want another thing. That is an ad to an opt-in page, to a one-time offer, to a one-click upsell, right? These sales funnel ideas are old school direct response marketing. Now, I don't know who this guy is other than I think he's a researcher who essentially took all of the best ideas from some of the best marketing minds and put them into this one really condensed book. And I like that it's so condensed. It gives you the whole plan of what you really need to do to build out a business that is going to be a engine, the engine room, the mechanism that can create wealth in abundance, okay? So we have to have our mindset right is the first part. And then we have to build an actual mechanism that can align you with wealth in abundance. Now, I'm not talking about making a good earning or struggling to get by or making just enough to get by. Like I'm talking about literally $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month and more type income levels. You have to have the right mindset that can handle that. And then you have to have the right machine built out. You got to be a business owner to get to those levels in the game. And you really need to have kind of it built in this way that he explains. If there was one book on here that I would give you permission to only read once, it would be this book. And with that said, I would encourage you to revisit this book once you think you've built out what it said. Because when you go back through a second time, you're going to notice some subtle nuances in here that's going to help you. You also will probably notice that this one most similarly overlaps to all of the content on my channel. I spent a lot of time talking about marketing funnels and the actual tactics. It's sometimes really, really helpful to get the ideas from another third party, if you've heard it from me before, to really solidify it, and he explains it in different ways than I do. And I remind you, I have a very successful business that brings in 7 figures per year, and I still took the time to go through this book. So I don't think I'm above going through this content to learn from it. I think there's 1 or 2 brilliant ideas in here that I can use to take my business forward, and it's this kind of like ethos. It's this way of approaching the world, of being a constant student, looking for those little ideas that I can go implement that boom, it's going to take my business to the next level. That is why I've created the level of success in my life. And that's what I want for you. I just don't want you to have to read 200 books to find the 5 that you should reread over and over and over. With that said, we're moving on to the next stage, which is the advertising solution. Now that's this book right here. Now I've given this book away several times. This is one I think you'll want to get in print, because you're going to want to underline things. You're going to want to put little notes in it for yourself so you can reference back. Now, this is the world of copywriting, okay? So mindset first, build the business machine, and then copywriting. You have to be able to get someone to gain interest in what you're talking about, whether it's through your blog, through Facebook ads, through your YouTube videos, or whatever. So the title on this video, the description of this video, the email, the subject line, everything I send out to promote this, the tweet I send, it's all copywriting. It's all advertising, and you have to become a student of advertising. Now, this was the most difficult book for me to choose, because common knowledge says to recommend, like Eugene Schwartz's Breakthrough Advertising, which is over there, or John Capel's Make Ads Pay. That book's like $300, $125 to $300. I wanted to give you a book that gives a clear overview of 6 of the best copywriters ever. Because the truth with copywriting is there's really no one way to do it right. Like, you'll find your style just like I found my style, and it often helps to analyze the style of several people. And they do an amazing job at that in this. This is what I think is the one and only copywriting book that you would ever need. If you really want to geek out, because I believe personally that copywriting is the most valuable skill that us digital entrepreneurs, that marketers can learn. If you really want to level up, you read this, you go through this, you're underlining it, you think it's great, go search for swipe files from all of the people he highlights in this book. So it's essentially, Robert Collier, Claude Hopkins, John Caples, David Ogilvy, Gary Halbert, and Eugene Schwartz. Go to swiped.co or anywhere, just search for swipe file. You can type in their name, like Gary Halbert swipe file, Gary Halbert sales letter swipe, and then find their old sales letters. They're going to look like newspapers, because all these dudes just perfected what we do today 50 plus years ago, and handwrite those out. So you'll learn how and why they did what they did. Excuse me, I'm knocking stuff all over my desk. You'll learn how and why they did what they did from this book. And he has very small examples, but when you get into the actual long form ads that they wrote and you handwrite those things out, it's going to sink in, because now you understand how they did what they did. And then as you write it out, you're going to get that feeling, that vibe of how they wrote out those letters, those advertisements, the sales copy that just pulled billions of dollars worth of value for their clients. And you will start to learn how to write that way by studying what they did and why they did it, as kind of revealed in the book, but then also practicing the copywriting by handwriting out the great sales letters of those years. This is an absolutely fantastic book. I was just rereading through it, and I came up with some ideas for some ads for a whole new ad series in this. Just rereading this rereading the book today to make sure it deserved to be on the list. And I got sparked an idea. I literally wrote out 3 pages of ads that my team is going to be running because of one sentence on one page in this. It was like, oh my gosh, bingo, there's an angle, there's a hook. And that's why this is one of those books that you'll read cover to cover, but then you're going to want to revisit it. It's something that you could literally open to a random page and read a page or two, and you'll probably get a great idea for a landing page, an opt-in page, a headline, bullets, an advertisement, something like that. And I think you just need to go through that over and over. Copywriting is the number one skill that I'm continuing to work on to improve in my business. Copywriting is salesmanship in print. Sales is the moment when money transacts, okay? So we have to have a mindset that can attract money, the first 2 books. Then we have to have a machine that's built in a way that can actually generate money. Then we have to have the right words on the page that connect with the reader in a way that make them ready, able, and willing to pull out their credit card and spend money. Okay, you have to be able to make sales. So the machine, as talked about on the last book, is great, but the words on every page are so incredibly important that you have to be a student of copywriting as well. And that's what this book here will do. milesbeckler.com/advertising-solution. All the links are obviously in the description here. And that brings us on to number 5. And this one you probably have heard me talk about before. It's The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. I actually go through this book once a year, whether I feel like I need it or not. And every time I go through it once a year, I am blown away at what I hear. Now, this is all about do the frickin' work. Stop being lazy. Stop letting your head talk you out of doing the work. Stop watching the stupid webinars. Stop looking for shiny objects. Stop listening to the gurus who are promising you that it's easy. If you buy their $10,000, their team will build it for you, blah, blah, blah. That's resistance. You are resisting doing the work, and he will break this down for you in a way that is going to blow you away. And when you can identify resistance as such, you can then move forward. Okay, that's identifying the enemy. So it's Sunday right now. There's a lot of things I could be doing on a Sunday. I happen to live on 20 magical acres. I could be out working on the land. I have a huge permaculture garden with 50 fruit trees. I could be playing in my garden right now. I'm on a lake. I could be paddleboarding on my lake right now. All of those things would be resistance from me doing the work to build my brand. So I show up for you today to make this video. And I didn't really want to do it, but I did it anyways. And this book, Steven Pressfield's book, and this idea, especially part 2 in this book, is what really helped me understand what it means and what it takes to be a professional, an absolute professional who shows up like it's my frickin' job, because it is my frickin' job. And I ask you, are you showing up for your audience, for your business, like it's your frickin' job? Most people will go to a 40-hour work week and sit in a cubicle, like they'll be there on time every day. They'll work till the whistle blows, till they can punch out and go home, but they don't have that kind of perseverance and that kind of commitment to their own business. I don't get it. And this book will blow your mind because it's going to level you up and it's going to kick you into motion. And I don't care if you're a YouTuber, a blogger, a paid ad person, somebody doing funnels, if you're a creative, if you're an actual artist, if you're an author, whatever it is, this is going to get you to really truly understand the secret of what successful people do, because they're not looking around for easy buttons. They're not watching overhyped webinars from greedy gurus who are selling yet another $2,000 course of baloney that doesn't work. And you might notice none of these books I publish here, except maybe this one, none of these books have been written in the last 10 plus years, okay? And this one is featuring people who were written and what they wrote, right? These 6 guys that it highlights, all of them were from the 1920s through the 1960s. And the truth is, there's a lot of rubbish floating around on the internet today. There's a lot of courses going around, guru courses out there for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 that are terrible. They are absolute rubbish. And you will get more from reading these proven books and then do the frickin' work. Just do the freaking work, right? And that's what the last book, War of Art, and that's milesbeckler.com/war-of-art will get you there. You got to do the work. There's no way around that, which means you got to build the mindset and that willingness to keep showing up when it's difficult, when you don't see results yet. You keep showing up. And when you hear his story about how he became a best-selling New York Times author, he had one of his books kind of optioned by Hollywood, turned into a hyper successful movie. Boy, It didn't come fun or easy to him, but he kept showing up and doing the work, which is what I do still to this very day. I've been full-time online since 2010. That's over 11 years at this point. I have been making money online since 2003. I still show up 7 days a freaking week. Why do you think I'm so successful? It's because I'm showing up 7 days a freaking week. But then it goes beyond that. I'm super good at copywriting at this point in my career, right? I have built a business machine that is so well refined. Oh yeah, I'm talking about this book right now. I've built a business machine that's so optimized and it's so well refined, it spits out dozens upon dozens of sales on days when I'm out camping, when I'm out gooping off. If we actually send an email, we can see hundreds, if not thousands of sales in a weekend from a single email because we've built these. And then why did we know to be able to do this? And how can I handle buying $100 and something thousand vehicles at this point and buying estates and literally flipping houses that are nearly $1 million houses? It's because I built a prosperity consciousness. And I now understand that I've rewired my brain to be a prosperous brain, to attract money to me. And I have beliefs now in my life that every dollar I spend comes back multiplied. So when I go spend $180,000 on a vehicle, my dream vehicle, I know for a fact, unshakably for a fact, that every single dollar that went out right there, it's coming back to me multiplied. Where did I learn that? I learned that from this book. He breaks it down how and why that's real through a real world exercise you'll hear. And when you believe it, it's true. Every dollar that you spend comes back multiplied. That's why I tip like a madman when I'm at restaurants. My credit card's like, dude, you tipped more than the cost of food. Great. I value them. I appreciate them. And I know every dollar I spend comes back multiplied. And it has been true for me in my life. And why do I know beyond a shadow of a doubt? Because there's spiritual truth and there's principles. And you can look at it from a religious layer, through a biblical layer, through a mystical layer, or you could take the quantum physics approach. This world, this matrix we live in the frickin' matrix, okay? And when we impress our visions and our ideas and our beliefs on this substance that's out there, it picks up on it and it reflects to bring to us what we hold as our dominant vibration, as our dominant feeling, and as our dominant vision for ourselves. And the Bible has been talking about, I had no clue. This was all kind of like new ideas to me that this stuff was in the Bible until fairly recently. I came at this from like the Napoleon Hill New Thought movement and the secret New Age movement. They're all saying the same thing. The modern mystics, the quantum physicists, and the theologians, they're all saying the same thing, because there is truly a way to magnetize abundance to you, and it's an internal thing. And that's in the first book. And that's why you need all 5 of these books. And then you need to tune everything else out. You need to read these books. You need to do the work. And you'll be amazed at what you create as long as you do the work. Don't miss that last book. Got to get the War of Art. All the links are down below. It's a great opportunity for you to support my channel. I run all of my videos with no ads because I care about your attention. I don't want you to get distracted by the greedy gurus. And if you've ever wanted to give back to me and the channel, click on one of the links. Check out on Amazon within 24 hours. I only get credit if it's 24 hours, before 24 hours after your click, and load up a cart with some other stuff that you need. And I get like a tiny percentage off of all of it, and you get to earn the same account. This is me living life in abundance. I give everything I know 100% for free here on YouTube channel, 700 and something videos. And then I open up an opportunity for you to pay it back if you want, if you so choose. Here's the cool part. I'm going to make a lot of sales from this because I'm following all of the processes that I've learned. And when you read all those books, you're going to see how it all fits together, and you're going to have your aha moment, and you're going to understand how I've been able to build from nothing, from being $50,000 in student loan debt, spending $100 on hosting and a domain, and I've built a multi-million-dollar business that spits out millions of dollars per year. And it's all in these 5 books. And I thank you very much for your time. And now you know the secret. Now it's time to get to work, because it does take a lot of work. But as long as you know the path, and the path is proven, and you can trust me that it is, you're now on the path. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Until then, be well.